blood, they say, is thicker than water. How true can we say that is when it comes to raising up a child and being present for the child, or giving birth to a child and being present for the child? Welcome to the show, The Table of Men, for this week on 89.3 FM, Wells Radio, your preferred wholesome radio, and your state's #1 family radio station. It's a pleasure to be back again on the show for this week to talk about critical issues in our world, in our society, in our family, especially when it concerns you and I, our gender, when it concerns the men. My name is Ayo Emmanuel-Ojo. Welcome to the Table of Men. And special thanks to all our listeners, most especially the men, that love to listen to the show and that have been, clamoring for us to, engage pretty much more in Yoruba language since our last 2 episodes, I believe, both for universal acceptability in our society and even in our space, the state where we broadcast from. We may have to switch between English and Yoruba, not just primarily in Yoruba alone. Welcome to the show. Ẹ jẹ́ máa kí àwọn tó ń gbọ́ wa lédè Yorùbá pé kálẹ̀ ẹ ṣeun tí ẹ tún darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ètò tábìlì àwọn ọkùnrin fún ti ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí. Tí mo ṣe ṣàlàyé lẹ́ẹ̀kan, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọkùnrin ló ń sọ pé ká máa ṣètò yìí ní Yorùbá sàn, àmọ́ nítorí pé àwọn tó ń gbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ àtàwọn tó ń gbọ́ wa lókè òkun bó ṣe ń sọ ìbò bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ń sọ Yorùbá, so méjèèjì láàmà dàpọ̀ lórí ètò. Ìjọ tí Dìkìndà bá wà lórí ètò àwọn gbọ́ Yorùbá dáadáa, so we can do both. Àmọ́ irú ọjọ́ tí Chukwuemeka tàbí alright bá wà lórí ètò, we might have to do alone in English. Ṣùgbọ́n èmi á gbìyànjú láti rí pé bá ṣe ń ṣe gbogbo wa náà ní ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ló ń yé lórí ètò tábìlì àwọn ọkùnrin, the table of men. Our goal, àfojúsùn wa àti nǹkan tí a fẹ́ rí pé àmújáde lórí ètò yìí kìkan ń ṣe láti wá síbí lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ láti sọ̀rọ̀ àbí láti rojọ́ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ kan ní pàtó, ṣùgbọ́n láti rí pé àyípadà ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú ìdílé wa, àyípadà ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ẹnu iṣẹ́ wa, ní inú ètò ìlera wa àti ètò ìṣúná wa, finances, and so on and so forth. Láti rí pé bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn, àmọ́ àwọn kókó orí ẹ̀ jáde, à ń kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nú ẹ̀, àdẹ̀múlò. Bí narrative pé ọkùnrin yìí ń tọ́jú ọmọ, ọkùnrin yìí ń tọ́jú ilé, ọkùnrin yìí ń ṣe kinní kan àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, báwọn nǹkan yìí ò ṣe ní jẹ́ agenda, not just agenda alone, ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan táwọn èèyàn ń rí, nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀, bí ò ṣe ní di nǹkan tí àwọn èèyàn á máa fi júwe ọkùnrin. Láìpẹ́ yìí mo ti ń gbọ́ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà táwọn èèyàn ní àti máa rí ejò máa jẹ́ kó máa lọ, ṣùgbọ́n tí n bá rọ́kùnrin máa ṣe kinní kan fún un, máa ṣe kinní kan fún un. Báwo la ṣe dé gbogbo bẹ́ẹ̀? Báwo la ṣe lè rí pé bí Ọlọ́run ṣe ṣẹ̀dá ìdílé, the structure of the family, bàbá, màmá àti àwọn ọmọ, àwọn nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ó dẹ̀ dúró bẹ́ẹ̀. Lóòótọ́ lórí ètò ìtẹ́bá máa ń bá wa lọ dáadáa, a ti fi lélẹ̀ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà pé èdè àìyedè máa wáyé, and that's very true. Bọ́yẹ̀ máa ń sọ pé ẹni téèyàn bá sùn tì lèèyàn máa ń jarun pálù, ṣùgbọ́n bá ṣe lè dìde jáde kúrò nínú àwọn ìṣòro yẹn láti rí pé táwa gan bá wẹ̀yìn pé Ọlọ́run máa ṣe ohun tó ràn wá lọ́wọ́, bóyá kíní yìí ò bá dẹ̀ ti bàjẹ́ jù báyìí lọ. Ó ní nǹkan tá fẹ́ mú gangan jáde pẹ̀lú ètò tábìlì àwọn ọkùnrin. Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ ti ràn wá lọ́wọ́ lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ tá a mú ètò wá sí orí rédíò yín. Tẹ́yìn bá ṣe ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, you're listening to 89.3 FM Wells Radio. Ẹ lè darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lójú òpó Facebook. We're live on Facebook page, Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, Wells Radio 893 FM fan page on Facebook. Ẹ lè wò wá ń bẹ̀, ẹ like video yẹn, ẹ comment, tẹ́ bá ní comment ẹ lè share, kí àwọn èèyàn náà bá lè darapọ̀ mọ́ wa káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè àgbáyé. With me in the studio today, as always, the Table of Men is the show. Nìkan ò dẹ̀ ń jáwádé, so màá dé ń sì máa ní àti dé o, èmi nìkan ò lè jẹ́ àti dé o, mo ti dé o ló máa jẹ́. But Table of Men, bó ṣe ń pè lóyìnbó men, tó bá ti ju ẹyọ kan lọ wọ́n ti di men nìyẹn. Do I describe them of men and timber and caliber? Let me start with Dickindan. Dickindan, ẹ kálẹ́ o.
To all our listeners across the globe, and to all great women over there, to the mothers, I'd like to say happy happy Mother's Day to all our great mothers there. So, Oyebusola, happy Mother's Day to you. Yeah, no, happy Mother's Day to you.
Well.
So, it's good to be here again.
Like they always joke, feel at home. You boil rice.
So, it's happy Mother's Day.
I like that scoop. You use style quickly. Before your wife will say, all right, so we have one of our brothers in the studio, Otojo Meta Olamide. Good to have you around.
Yeah. Oloye, it's been a while.
Yes, it's been a
Otojo
while.
Meta.
How have you been though?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's been a very good time.
What have you been up to?
A lot of things
Back
in the
in
agri space.
Our pharmacy.
Abi.
Farmer sitting beside farmer.
Abi.
Farmer sitting beside farmer. That's great.
Father farmers.
What I came with
Father farmers.
What I came with best in Shagrik by.
Abi, yeah, it's a good time. and
If
it's
you
a good
if you
time.
promise me like in 2 months I'm going to be a millionaire.
In 2 months, yeah, in 2 months you'll be broke.
No. The 2 months is referring to is not calendar 2 months.
Okay.
No. You don't speak for me now. I'm saying 2 months,
It's
and
in
my
2
2 months is 2 months.
Yeah.
No, let me assume
2 months,
that
no
the 2
problem.
months.
Don't
we're
assume.
talking
My
about
2 months
not
is 2
calendar
months.
2 months.
My 2 months is 2
So
months.
the 1 month stands for 5 years.
Okay. All right, welcome to the show. Let's say Loreto, we want to talk about fún àwọn tó bá ti ń tẹ̀lé nǹkan tó ń lọ lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára internet láìpẹ́ ní ọ̀rọ̀ kan jáde síta. Like I always say on the table of men, our goal is not to talk about the personalities involved. I don't like to talk about personality conversation because kò sí nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ẹnìkan tí ò máa ṣẹlẹ̀ sáwọn míì but torí pé ẹni yẹn jẹ́ ìlú mọ̀ọ́ká or a celebrity òun ló ṣe máa ń dà pé that issue is very particular about them. The conversation of is fatherhood defined by blood or by presence? Tala lè pè ní bàbá ṣé ẹni tí ó dẹ̀jẹ̀ léèyàn lórí biologically or ẹni tó tọ́jú èèyàn? Is that person the father? For those who know the conversation I'm talking about, you would already get the picture. But let's just look at the issue in itself. And I want us to, take a deep dive into, what truly makes a man a father. Is it the biological ties or the role he plays in the life of a child? Who deserve the fatherhood honor? Lónìí, we are saying our is Mother's Day, our is Mothering Sunday, whatever one it is, we are celebrating mothers. And so the conversation is ṣé ìyá lẹni tó bíyàn àbí ẹni tó tọ́jú èèyàn. We are looking at the flip side here on the table of men. Ṣé ẹni tó dẹ̀jẹ̀ léèyàn lórí bí bàbá, ṣóun ni bàbá àbí ẹni tó tọ́jú èèyàn? Who deserve that responsibility that you call somebody your father? Ẹlòmíì bàbá tó bí ṣì wà láyé ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀tọ̀ lẹni tó ń pè ní bàbá. Tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ bèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn á ní ẹni yẹn ló tọ́jú àwọn. Ṣé lóòótọ́ bó ṣe yẹ kó rí nìyẹn? Ṣé ẹni tó tọ́jú èèyàn ló yẹ kó deserve honor bàbá? And then we're going to explore the emotional and cultural and societal dynamics of fatherhood. And when a child, is raised by someone other than their biological father. So when a man raises a child that is not his own, should society recognize that man as a father? So, lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà, we see the case of adopting in our world, which personally I encourage, because there are so many children out there who need, covering over them. Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ ti fún wa ẹlòmíì láǹfààní, Ọlọ́run bẹ́gi ọ̀la fáwọn kan that trust me, wọ́n lè raise ọmọ mẹ́wàá ibi tọ́lọ́run bless wọn dé nìyẹn. But ṣé bàbá tó bá tọ́ ọmọ tí òun ṣe òun ló bí ṣá lè pe irú èèyàn bẹ́yẹn ní bàbá? Or should such a person also recognize himself as the father of a child? That's what we'll be looking at today. Ṣé ẹni tó dá ẹ̀jẹ̀ léèyàn lórí ni bàbá àbí ẹni tó tọ́jú ọmọ ni bàbá? I'm sure that when we continue this conversation, different questions will also be coming up and different realities will be coming up. Tásìkò bá tó, màá ṣí ojú òpó sílẹ̀ the phone lines so that you can join us. Adèlè sọ̀rọ̀ yìí kó kúnná dáadáa. Mo dẹ̀ sure pé a máa mú ẹ̀kọ́ kan jáde nù. Let me start with Olamide. It's been a while. It's been a while. Let me get your view. And I know you speak both English and Yoruba, so we can just mix both of them. Who is a father? Biological? Or the one who took responsibility over a child and that is not biological, who is a father?
Okay, ṣe rí ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá ẹ jẹ́ ká wò ní ọ̀nà méjì. Olóyìnbó ti bá wa pín bó ṣe ń pè kan ní biological father ló ń pa àwọn kan spiritual father bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ń pè foster father.
That's true.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ń pè work father àwọn kan pè school father father pọ̀ àwọn kan godfather father pọ̀. So ibi tá ti máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni pé the genesis of fatherhood starts from the biology. The genesis of anything that has to do with father. Pé okay ẹni yìí délé ayé a máa kọ́kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ bàbá ẹni tó bí first. Na ẹni tó ṣọkọ ẹ̀ wálé ayé apá kan nìyẹn then ẹni tó wá tọ́ ní apá kejì. Tí ẹni tó ṣọkọ ẹ̀ wálé ayé bá jẹ́ ẹni tó tọ́ is the father, both biological father and in any angle you can call it. Ṣàyè so then but tó bá jẹ́ pé ẹni tó ṣe ọlọ́kọ ẹ̀ wálé ayé ẹlòmíì ò tiẹ̀ mọ bàbá tó bí rárá ṣá máa sọ pé ẹnìyàn ò ní bàbá ni but ẹni tó tọ́ ọmọ òun gangan ni bàbá àfi tá a bá fẹ́ parọ́ tanra wa lókù torí kí ni ìwúlò ọmọ tó bílẹ̀ tó tọ́ but ó bí ọmọ lẹ̀ ò tán rárá ò ṣe kankan ok ẹnìkan wá gbé ó wà lọ ń tọ́jú ọmọ yẹn so the person who took that responsibility, let's say from 2 years to 25 years, for that 23 years gap, what's going to be the reward? So ẹni yẹn la máa pè ní bàbá torí pé òun ló tọ́jú ọmọ yẹn. Now we cannot undermine the fact that this man is the biological father. Òun ló ṣọkọ ẹ̀ wálé ayé. Ṣùgbọ́n torí pé kò tọ́ yẹn kò sí ń bẹ̀. That part of that person's life, the formative years, the development, the growth, the responsibility, let's say, in terms of financing, mental support, advice and other things. Tọ́mọ yẹn ní through the life. Kò ń ṣe pé kò bímọ lẹ́nìkan. So gbogbo àwọn kan tó need all through that, let's say 23, 25 years, then if you are independent, you've not been there. Somebody else has been. So who do we now say, okay, if we are now to choose, is it you? Because you are all likely genetically related to the person or the person who took responsibility all through the life. So easy fún wa láti ṣàlàyé méjèèjì ẹni tó jẹ́ bàbá.
Thank you so much. Let me come to Deacon Dan. And I know that a lot of people might go in line of Olamide's thoughts. But before you go, I still want us to have a consciousness of biology.
Yeah.
And for instance, and I know this is more of a public knowledge, and we had a conversation on this show, Torí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ó fẹjú gan, Asake and his father, the time when that one happened. Nígbà tí bàbá yẹn jáde pé kò tọ́jú òun kò ṣe tán and speculation here and there inú mi dùn pé lẹ́yìn ìta sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ó dà pé lọ́sẹ̀ yẹn náà la gbọ́rọ̀ yìí pé ó dà pé wọ́n ti wá yanjú ẹ̀. That biology thing, can we entirely say okay ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ kò tọ́jú ọmọ ṣé kò tiẹ̀ wá deserve láti jẹ oúnjẹ ọmọ rárá ni? Let me get your view still that question. However, I still want us to carry the consciousness of biology so that we don't entirely, but it's still your view, if that's your view. So let me get your thought.
Ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ó fẹ̀jú díẹ̀. Òun ló ṣe ọlọ́kọ̀ ẹ̀ wá sílé ayé.
Okay.
Tí ò bá dá àtọ̀ ẹ̀ sí kò ní wá sílé ayé. So nǹkan kí nǹkan tí ò bá dá èèyàn kéèyàn tí ò bá tọ̀ náà pé kò yẹ kí wọ́n tọ́jú ẹ̀ rárá ọ̀tọ̀ nìyẹn báyẹn sọ́njọ́ sí ó sì lè tọ́jú ẹ̀ pé ó máa neglect ẹ̀ pé at least this is my biological father, you shouldn't have any reason láti neglect ẹ̀ because he's still your father. Tí ò bá jẹ́ kó wá sílé ayé, there's nothing you could say you have achieved that you could have achieved because you would not be in existence. So definitely you can't just ignore it. But now there are different kind of fathers don't exist, as Olamide said. But another part we are having in our generation now is provision fathers. And babale wọ́n san school fees ẹ̀ wọ́n pèsè nǹkan tí wàá jẹ. Ṣùgbọ́n what is called fatherhood, the absence.
They provide all that you need, but they are never there emotionally.
They're never there. Not even emotionally, in terms of mentorship, in terms of guidance, in terms of training, in terms of values, in terms of skills, they are not there. The only thing they want to do for you is kilo need.
Make the money available, and that's all.
Should we call them fathers? Yes.
That's another part entirely.
Yes, they are fathers.
That's another part entirely.
But are they really fulfilling the responsibility of a fatherhood? I would say no. Because money alone does not make a child. Money doesn't give a child an identity. Torí ọmọ tí a bá kọ́, gbogbo ilé tá bá kọ́ pátápátá, ọmọ àgbéta ni. So which means pé akọ́lé kò mean pé akọ́mọ.
Okay.
Ọmọ tá bá ti kọ́. So kíkọ́ ọmọ gangan òun ni iṣẹ́ bàbá. Kíkọ́ ọmọ gangan òun ni iṣẹ́ bàbá.
Okay, kíkọ́ ọmọ yẹn gangan, let's open it up. Kíkọ́ ọmọ with provision. Ó ṣeé ṣe kéèyàn kọ́ ọmọ kó má lówó tó máa fi tọ́. How about that?
But all of us, I didn't grow up with a golden diamond, silver.
Which one? Which one are you wooden spoon?
Some of us didn't have spoon.
So I didn't grow up with that. But yet today, there are some values that have built me. Kò sí bí tó bá kù díẹ̀ kan mọ olóore jìn sí kòtò mọ̀nàmọ́ná ayọ̀ ṣe bí ọmọ olóore ni. Wọ́n sọ pé ọmọ olówó. Can you see it? Wọ́n sọ pé ọmọ olówó. So because ó ní àwọn values kan tó ti ṣe, ó ní àwọn ìlànà kan tó ti tẹ̀lé, ó ní what he has molded you. Definitely what he has done will always speak for you. Not what money did. What he did. And the values he has introduced into you, the mistakes he made, don't try to correct in you. Because all fathers, what they are trying to do is to correct, to avoid our children to follow the path, the mistake path we followed. Because I want to magba. So now, tí o bá sí gbogbo experimental or experiential skills to build ọmọ yẹn, what do you think the child will become? Will money do that? Money will not do that.
So we are still on the platform of ẹni tó tọ́jú ọmọ.
Only Baba. Let me open the phone lines so we can. Because time is running really fast. Kila yiro tani baba ọmọ ṣé ẹni tí ó ṣàtọ́nà ọmọ wáyé biologically àbí ẹni tó tọ́jú ọmọ. Situation will warrant, we've seen that a lot. Bóyá I don't like to talk about situation bí ẹni tí bàbá ẹ̀ ṣaláìsí. I mean, nature ló ṣẹlẹ̀ tẹ́ni yẹn fi lọ tẹ́lẹ̀ mi fi wá tọ́jú ẹ̀. Àmọ́ ẹni tí bàbá ẹ̀ wà láyé bóyá èdè àìyedè wáyé láàrin àwọn òbí ló wá di pé bí àyà ló mú lọ bàbá ò wá dá sí mọ́ àbí nǹkan kan ṣàṣẹlẹ̀ bàbá yẹn ò ṣáà dá sí mọ́ tó wá bọ́ sọ́wọ́ ẹlòmíì tọ́lọ́run rán sí tó dẹ̀ tọ́jú ẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ. Ṣé ẹni bàbá ọmọ yẹn àbí ẹni tí ó jẹ́ òun gangan ló bí ọmọ yẹn biologically? 0916 893 1000 0916 893 2000 tàbí 0915 3334 893 0916 893 1000 0916 893 2000 tàbí 0915 3334 893. Àwọn ojú òpó tí ẹ lè fi bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ nìyẹn. Those are the studio lines you can talk or engage with the studio with this afternoon. Hello, wa lójú òpó Facebook. We're live on Facebook, and also you can follow us on YouTube. We're also live on YouTube, so you can watch us on these two platforms and share your thought with us in the comment section. Okay, you want to say something?
Yeah, àwọn Yorùbá máa ń sọ nǹkan kan pé ọmọ tó bá dá
ti
bàbá ẹ̀, which means pé a ti mọ̀ pé tí bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bá kọ́ ọmọ yẹn dandan ọmọ yẹn á dá. Ọmọ tó bá dá ti bàbá ẹ̀, ọmọ tí bàbá ò bá ti wá available. Kò mí pé àwọn ìyá kan wà tó yẹ pé wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ tó yẹ pé wọ́n ṣe takuntakun tó yẹ pé ó yẹ ká kí wọn. àwọn ìyá kan sọ pé bàbá gan ló yẹ kó máa pè wọ́n. Yes, àwọn ìyá kan sọ pé bàbá ló yẹ kó máa pè wọ́n because they were there for the child emotionally, in terms of value instilling, in terms of every areas of growth ọmọ yẹn wọ́n were fully involved even when the father wasn't around. We've seen so many widows that, yes, they were the one that took care of those children when they remarry. But for a man to have said, get out of my house, for both the mother and the child or children, over there after 20-something years, orí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wá pé ó wá padà wá fẹ́ claim ọmọ yẹn.
Tabade wo dáadáa àwọn tó ń padà wá fẹ́ máa claim ọmọ yẹn, àwọn ọmọ tó bá ti wá lógo tó ti blow náà máa fẹ́ padà wá claim.
ọmọ tó wà níta tàbí wà lẹ́wọ̀n.
ọmọ èmi tó kúrò nílé as early as I was watching a program sometimes ago and mo rí àwọn ọmọ tó ti kúrò nílé as young as 7 years. 7 years in Lagos, wọ́n ti ń gbé abẹ́ bridge, they've been there for many years. Táwọn ọmọ yẹn bá ṣì wà lábẹ́ bridge yẹn kò sí bàbá kan tó máa wá kílè wọn ní ìjọ tí wọ́n bá dàgbà tán bá lórúkọ tán bá dé ńlá bàbá yẹn á wá sọ pé ebi báyìí la bí ẹ sí yá fún ní details náà ṣá máa wá pé ẹni yẹn ní bàbá. That's one. Another part is this, ṣe rí bàbá tí àwọn bàbá kan wà wọ́n lọ́mọ yẹn tó pọ̀ ẹlòmíì kò ṣe púpọ̀ 2 mẹ́ta ló bí ìyá ṣaláìsí ó kò wọn nìkan ló ń tọ́jú àwọn ọmọ yẹn ó wá kọjá agbára ẹ̀ based on resources, not remarry now, based on resources. Ó wá rí èèyàn tó lè assist ẹ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀ ó lọ́mọ mẹ́ta lọ́wọ́ okay jẹ́ mú méjì kéékèèké ìsọ̀wọ́ yìí tó ti dàgbà yẹn ó lè máa assist ẹ̀. So now in that case a rí pé the man wants to ṣùgbọ́n kò sí agbára ó wá gbé fún yàn kan ẹni yẹn dẹ̀ take care. Now in the future a lè sọ pé máa yí náà
ó gbìyànjú nígbà àtàpá kun
ibi tágbára gbé
fún yẹn ò ní fọmọ yẹn lẹ o
kò ní filẹ̀. No, those kind of people do not leave those children mentally. They will never.
They will be involved.
They will still be involved. Wọ́n á lọ bóyá ọmọ yẹn okay during holiday ó wá ó check but ó tún padà. Those ones still remain a part of the child's life in that case. But ẹni tó yẹ pé ọkọ bímọ lẹ bí ilẹ̀ oníkálukú wá ń jà fitafita fún life ara tiẹ̀. Ó dijọ́ táwọn ọmọ yẹn bá blow kẹ́ tó rí bàbá kan tó máa sọ pé ẹni báyìí òun lòun bí kò tọ́jú òun tẹ́ bá máa wá lọ go and check the relationship between the father and the child.
And that's where I'm going to. Relationship 0916-893-1000 0916-893-2000 or 0915-3334-893. ẹ̀yin náà lè darapọ̀ mọ́ wa báwa náà ṣe ń sọ. Níbí báyìí let's look at this story. Ó dẹ̀ máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà mi ti gbọ́ rí in real life. Ṣùgbọ́n láìpẹ́ mo mọ̀ pé nínú cinema kan there's a portrayal of such in a film that I saw recently, a Nollywood film. But I'm just going to paint the picture. Bàbá tí ò sí ń bẹ̀ just like bá ti ṣe ṣàlàyé nígbà tí ọmọ ń dàgbà bóyá ẹlòmíì ló bá tọ́jú ọmọ yẹn. Maybe ọmọ yẹn rìn títí Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ gbé pàdé aláàánú àbí ibi tí ìyá ẹ̀ mú lọ lẹ́lòmíì ti tọ́jú ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n ọmọ yẹn wá fẹ́ ṣègbéyàwó bàbá tuntun tọ́lọ̀ ń fún bóyá ibi tí ìyá ẹ̀ mú lọ bóyá ibi tó ń rìn dé bóyá ibi tálàánú tọ́lọ̀ ti gbá láàánú pàdé ẹ̀ ó wá ń ṣègbéyàwó bàbá tó jọ òun ló bí biologically ó wá ń retí pé èmi ló yẹ kí n jókòó sípò bàbá ẹ̀ dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé láfíríkà tá a bá ń ṣe wedding father and mother of the bride. Bàbá àti ìyá ọkọ bó ṣe máa ń wà nìyẹn and it's always a thing of honour. Ọjọ́ tọ́lọ́run máa ń fi dé iṣẹ́ àwọn òbí ládé gangan nírú àwọn ọjọ́ yẹn. Irú bàbá yẹn tọ́mọ yẹn wá fún láyè láti bóyá ní access irú àga yẹn tó ní ara o bàbá tuntun tó tọ́jú mi òun gangan ni bàbá ọ̀lẹ́yìn ṣe wọ̀rọ̀ yẹn sí ṣerú ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣó ṣe dáadáa.
Well ní tèmi.
Okay I like that ní tèmi.
Ní tèmi ó ṣe dáadáa. Ó ṣe dáadáa. Ó tún wá depend on what happened. Check it. But if it's let's say intentional bóyá bí bàbá yẹn lé ìyá ẹ̀ kúrò nílé bóyá torí pé ó fẹ́ fẹ́ ìyàwó kejì àbí torí pé ó fẹ́ ìyàwó kejì ẹ̀dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé àwa èèyàn rí ìyàwó kọ̀ yálé ni wá òkè ó wá lé kúrò nílé pẹ̀lú ọmọ àbúsọ pé ó ṣe àbúṣe kíní kan ó wá gbé ọmọ yẹn lọ let's say the child is maybe 3-4 èèyàn tó ti fojú mọ̀ ká wá sọ pé ọmọ yẹn ṣe wedding maybe at 27 so the child has been with this father for 24 years ìwọ tó wà ní life ọmọ yẹn for only 3 years ó wá dé wá sọ pé wọlé yẹ kó jókòó lórí àga ẹ má jẹ́ ká tanra wa àfi tá a bá fẹ́ parọ́ tanra wa ọkùnrin lèmi náà ọkùnrin lèmi náà.
díkì náà ṣe orí bẹ́ẹ̀.
irú eré ìtàgé tẹ̀sán yẹn bí mo ṣe ń wò lọ.
ok èmi náà ti wò àbí.
mo kàn wò dé dájú mo dé stop ẹ.
kí ló tẹ stop ẹ.
number one the narrative tí wọ́n preach to me I don't like the narrative.
But story àwọn kan ni ó lè má jẹ́ narrative ta like but the truth is èmi ti rí èèyàn ṣe rí nǹkan gbà tí mo wo cinema yẹn and the reason why I saw it through because I know some it's ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pé wọ́n ní literature bí prophecy ni either kò ti ṣẹlẹ̀ àbí kò fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà tí mo wo exactly ìyàtọ̀ ẹ̀ ni pé ọkùnrin lọ́mọ ní real life tí mi mọ̀ and it became ọmọ yẹn náà gbà pé àwọn ó yá jẹ́ kí bàbá ẹ̀ gangan ó dẹ̀ ní rárá sẹ́ ẹni tó tọ́jú òun yìí òun ni but ẹ jẹ́ kí n review.
that's narrative tí mo expect kí wọ́n preach n bẹ́ẹ̀.
but tó bá jẹ́ true life story ẹnìkan kan.
so movie nìyẹn. But now let's talk to ourselves, let's talk to fathers. Ẹ jẹ́ ká bá àwọn ọkùnrin àtẹ́kẹ́ aláìka máa ná gbòòrò ká ná gbá ká ná òun ká ṣe ẹmọ àtàlẹ́ àtàárọ̀ àtọ̀sán ago ńláńlá làláìka máa ṣe. Ìwàkiwà tá a bá máa wù lónìí ọjọ́ tí result bá máa jáde ọjọ́ tá a wò kán result ẹ̀ máa jáde bàtà èso ládẹ à ń gbìn nǹkan ni ìgbà tá a máa ká èso ẹ̀ òun nìkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nísìnyí I have a real life story issues wà láàrin ọkọ àti ìyàwó yẹn the mother left with the child I think at about 3 years they left the child about 3 years but the mother did one great thing ó mọ̀ ẹ́ pé ẹni tó ń tọ́jú ẹ̀ yìí kọ́ ni bàbá ẹ̀ o òun kọ́ ló bí ẹ̀ at 10 the mother made the child to be aware pé this man is not your father. But this stepfather tá a máa ń pè the feeling figure fathers the man took care of this child very very well. Okay, àwọn èèyàn gan ò tiẹ̀ mọ̀ wípé ọmọ pé òun kọ́ ló ní. wọn mọ̀ pé òun kọ́ ló ní. Ìgbà tó máa di ọjọ́ ìgbéyàwó torí pé ó mọrú èèyàn tí bàbá yẹn jẹ́ ó sọ fún pé irọ́ o mi ò ní yọjú lọ́jọ́ ìgbéyàwó.
Ìyẹn ìyá ọmọ yẹn.
Bàbá tó tọ́jú ẹ mọ́ ó lóun ò ní yọjú lọ́jọ́ ìgbéyàwó ẹ̀ bàbá tó bí ẹ̀ jẹ́ kó jókòó but the presence of bàbá ẹni yẹn ó ń wà ó ṣò.
Thank you for where you stopped and mo fẹ́ ká wà very realistic without this is a conversation without pushing any agenda or getting into anybody's head. Na ọ̀rọ̀ kan wà tó máa sọ pé ẹni tó bá ṣe ló yẹ kó jẹ ẹni tó bá fúrúgbìn òun náà ló máa kànà lágbára Ọlọ́run tí nǹkan kan ò bá ṣe but how convenient fún ẹni tí I don't want to use the word ọmọ lọ́mọ but the truth is biologically ọmọ yẹn ò ń ṣọmọ ẹ ṣùgbọ́n ó fi wùwà sí ó fi ṣèkà sí nǹkan tí wàá ṣe fún èyí tó jẹ́ tiẹ̀ náà ní sọ ti di tiẹ̀ báwo ló ṣe rọrùn tó pé nírú ọjọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ nírú ọjọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn tó wọ kẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ irú ọmọ yìí ọdún kan ló ti wà lọ́wọ́ mi àbí ọdún méjì irú ọmọ yẹn wá ṣègbéyàwó níbi 30 years bóyá bàbá tiẹ̀ gangan tó bí biologically ó wá yọjú gbà tọmọ yẹn gbé 25 bóyá wà 25 yẹn lẹ́tí ń fà ọmọ yẹn fẹ́ marry 30 báwo ló ṣe rọrùn tó I just want us to be truthful.
well let's look at it this way ẹ jẹ́ ká wò lọ́nà méjì. Number one ó depend lórí ẹni tó bá raise ọmọ yẹn ó depend ẹlòmíì máa dúró pé sẹ́ ọmọ yìí o èmi ni mo tọ́ okay for example ẹmọ tó ti gbélé láti bí ọdún kan àbọ̀dún méjì kó wá pé 30 years but àwọn kan some people are what would I call it they are calm and magnanimous they can just be
but not everyone is like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying it depends on individuals. So ó depend lórí ẹni tí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ṣẹ̀ sí lọ́dọ̀ pé ẹlòmíì máa ní sí nǹkan kan bẹ́ẹ̀ jẹ́ kí bàbá ìjókòó ọjẹ́ ẹni náà ni. Now ẹlòmíì ní mindset eléyìí ọmọ yìí o pẹ̀lú value tóun fi raise òun kọ́ ló lọ́mọ o but value tó fi raise ọmọ yẹn ó kàn fẹ́ yá bàbá yẹn ní ọjọ́ yẹn ni ó kàn fẹ́ yá ni tó bá di pé bóyá bí wọ́n fẹ́ jèrè ọmọ àbí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe kinní kan based on values tó instill ọmọ yẹn ó mọ̀ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ó mọ̀ nǹkan tó máa padà wá. Or based on bó ṣe raise ọmọ yẹn pé ọmọ wa jẹ́ kí bàbá yìí jókòó lé ní tó bá jẹ́ in the future ó wá ní láti give any assistance tó bá wà nínú agbára ẹ̀ don't withhold it. Fún bàbá yẹn ní support tó necessary. Don't see it as you trying to get back. Ẹ mọ̀ pé at the end of the day if you know the man at the end of the day you now withdraw 100%. It's also a form of you retaliating for the man leaving you. It's a retaliation to a degree. It's a revenge. So based on the value tẹ́ni tó raise yẹ tó bá fi sí pé máa sọ pé ó fẹ́ gbẹ̀san o máa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ o tọ́lọ́n bá ti fi sí ẹ lọ́wọ́ bàbá yìí once in a while máa rántí ẹ. That's why ọ̀nà méjì tó pín sí nìyẹn but it's solely dependent on ẹni tó raise ọmọ yẹn tó bá jẹ́yàn tó jẹ́ pé pẹ̀lú wàhálà tèmi náà ṣe lórí ọmọ yìí.
Okay, so that will bring me to this conversation of investment parenting. Ká má tanra wa mo gbọ́ láìpẹ́ tí òbí kan sọ fún ọmọ ẹ̀ tó ń ṣe NYSC pé nínú 77,000 tíjọba ti fún yẹn 20,000 lówó tèmi o tó bá fún mi ní 20,000 yẹn nǹkan tí n bá sọ bó ṣe máa rí nìyẹn o bó ṣe máa ṣe whether biological parent or not bí mo ṣe sọ ẹni tó bá ṣe ló yẹ kó jẹ and tọmọ yẹn bá bọ́ sí irú ọwọ́ irú investment parent yẹn tó wò pé irú ọmọ báyìí sìn ó ní prospect kọ́lọ́ ràn wá ló kó bá mi gbé débi tó dé kí irú bàbá kan wá lọ yọjú láti fi kọ́
ìjà máa ṣẹlẹ̀.
But the kid, let me get your view in that.
And one thing is, as Lamide said, it depends on the individual. Then it depends on the child. Akọ́mọ̀sọ ọmọ tó a bá kọ́ ni ọ̀tọ̀ ní ká kọ́ ọmọ ọ̀tọ̀ ní ká ọmọ náà kó gba ẹ̀kọ́. Wọ́n lè kọ́ ọmọ kó má gba ẹ̀kọ́ kó yẹ pé social media ló wá rí brand ẹ̀ ló wá rí form life ẹ̀ yẹ pé yẹn tún lọ ọ̀tọ̀ nìyẹn á tún wá rí form life ẹ̀ á wá sọ the feminist or feminism or anything whatever anything that man sọ wọ́n di ọ̀tọ̀ nìyẹn. Now on this case now like the story I'm saying this lady took care of this man kò wá níjọ́ wedding o but till the last breath of this man she was there all through. As in was there all through as in gbogbo àgún ẹ̀ all through she was there. Kí ni ọ̀nà tí òbí fẹ́ gbà jù yẹn lọ pọ̀mọ́ dúró ti òbí títí di ọjọ́ òkú ẹ̀ kò sí ọ̀nà tóbi fẹ́ jù yẹn lọ. So now society could create a mindset for us but for individual tó bá kọ́ wa àwa náà yẹ ká máa tún ara wa kọ́. Number one so far tó wọ́n kẹ́ bàbá yẹn náà ni don't neglect but at the same time don't always remember the man. Can a man you take your help and nurture you for that longer years? Who do you think you could have become? So you have no, by virtue of that, you have no reason. Now, see, to the case of our entitlement fathers, as sorry to that, entitlement fathers, normally to about to train no more. A child will always come back. It's a natural law when you sow a seed and you nurture the seed must bear fruit. It's a natural law. The child will always come back. Kò sọ́mọ tó bá kọ́ tí ò ní padà wá pé òun máa tọ́jú òbí ẹ̀. Bí wọ́n á ní pé nísìnyí o mo ti kọ́ ẹ o tó bá ti fún mi lélẹ̀ entertainment father ni á fún ẹ fún ẹ á fún ẹ nísìnyí tó bá ríṣẹ́ nísìnyí kò ní sọ fún ẹ iye tó ń gbà lówó oṣù. Ó máa pààrọ̀ fún ẹ wọ́n fún ní 1 million dáàdi ẹ̀ ò ṣe ta ara manage báyìí gbàjọ́ 100,000 lọ nínú 100,000 yẹn o 40,000 tèmi o àtẹ̀wá àmọ́ mi dáàdi ẹ̀ má tẹ̀wọ́n rì mama ìlàjì ẹ̀ máa fún yín máa fún yín ìlàjì èyí tó kù ṣàrídìí àwọn ètò mi wà tẹ́ pé no dáàdi yẹn kọ́lé mi fún yín ẹ̀ka mọ́tò mi fún yín kò ní ma because ẹ ti ń sọ di ẹ fẹ́ máa fún kò necessary. A natural law ni where you train a child a natural law kò sí ní ọmọ yẹn. The question is because I think the case the last time ta sọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n pè pé kíkọ́ kíni kan ìyẹn ọ̀tọ̀ nìyẹn. Something must have happened tí ò bá sí di ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ òǹdédé ṣẹ̀ kankan something must happen to a child either spiritually or psychologically. Something must have changed.
There are other influences here and there, really.
Yes. Yeah. Something must have influenced the child, rebrand his mentality, not to reason about taking care of his or her parent. A natural child will always turn back. and take care of their children or their parents.
Look at something. Apá kan wà, nǹkan tẹ́ sọ yẹn, a child will come back under natural circumstances. There are always exceptions.
Absolutely.
Torí ẹ̀ everybody ṣe máa ń gbàdúrà pé Ọlọ́run fún wa lọ́mọ tó lójú àánú.
tó lójú àánú ìyẹn náà wà. ìyẹn náà wà.
Ọlọ́run fún wa lọ́mọ tó lójú àánú. Ẹyọ kan nìyẹn. Ẹ jẹ́ n fún yín ní scenario kan tí mo mọ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà tí mo ṣe masters ní UI ní bíbá. Bàbá yẹn àti woman tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí wọn ò bímọ kankan.
Okay.
So they took this boy and raised him from scratch. Tó fi lọ university, tó fi graduate, tó fi marry. Tí bàbá yẹn fi retire. Tíyàwó wọn fi fall sick, tíyàwó wọn ṣaláìsí. This boy never showed látìgbà tó ti lọ, tó ti marry. The boy never came back. He didn't show up during the burial of the woman. The man after maybe
But
1
kilo
year or
shele,
two.
what happened?
Something
Now I don't know what happened in the middle. That I can't say. But in that man yẹn náà fi ṣaláìsí. Now this man does not have any child to take over his properties and everything. And people were expecting this guy to come back.
ó dẹ̀ mọ̀ ó mọ̀ pé nǹkan kan wà
ó mọ̀.
tó pé táwọn people yìí bá dàgbà tó bá lọ ó tún wà
Village
fún
people
un.
Now-
ṣùgbọ́n kò mind bẹ́ẹ̀ kò
he's
padà.
already doing well. He's already doing well with life. Nígbà burial bàbá yẹn, he came. After that burial, he left.
and didn't show up again.
Didn't show up again. Torí ẹni mo ṣe sọ pé ká máa gbàdúrà kọ́lọ́run náà tún fún wa lọ́mọ tó lójú àánú. Ọmọ táwa náà bá tún tọ́ kó jẹ́ ọmọ tó lójú àánú.
àti máa gbàdúrà jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ pé àwọn village people tó máa fẹ́ yí ojú ọmọ padà sẹ́yìn
Padà kọ́ máa
kọ́lọ́hún jọ kọ́lọ́hún bá wa fọ́ wọn lójú kọ́ máa lè.
ẹ jẹ́ kí n ṣe ojú òpó again. Men are quiet today. àwọn ọkùnrin dákẹ́ and I totally understand. When irú ọ̀rọ̀ báyìí bá wà nílẹ̀ nígbà míì èèyàn ní láti rò ó dáadáa and then check and see if you are playing the role exactly. I'll come back to kí ni àwọn ojúṣe tó yẹ kí bàbá ṣe. I know it's endless. You can write a book on it. 0916 893 1000 0916 893 2000 tàbí 0915 3334 893 0916 893 1000 0916 893 2000. You can call us in on that line. Fweni Tiobani Kolatibawa. So there's a lot of like on Facebook. Found on lójú òpó Facebook. Ẹ má gbàgbé àwa lórí ojú òpó YouTube. No, you can go back on YouTube and watch the video again on our YouTube page. And you can also drop your comment for us on YouTube. At any point in time, we will definitely, send in our response back to you. Kini ojúṣe bàbá sí ọmọ. So I don't want to say nínú ẹbí, but sí ọmọ ẹ.
Sí ọmọ.
Because these days, whether we like it or not, a lot of our own parents, pẹ̀lú bí ojú ọjọ́ ṣe rí ngbà yẹn, kí lẹ need, o ti ní ìdówó yá. And a lot of times, someone dàbí pé tó bá ti send owó fún ẹ kí ló tún need. And as silly as that may sound, the truth is ngbà míì tọmọ bá wà nílé ẹ̀kọ́ tó bá dápò yẹn ngbà míì, you know what to do. And if you look at it critically now, ó ṣì ń ṣẹlẹ̀ báyìí o. Yes, we point fingers and a lè dá mọ̀ pé I know now ṣebí dáàdì mi owó nìkan náà kàn máa ń fún mi àwọn nǹkan mi wọ̀n fún but àwa náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣe mistake yẹn sìn. Kí lójúṣe bàbá sí ọmọ? Ọlámídé, let me start with you.
Okay. Ojúṣe bàbá ò ṣe kò ń ṣe kékeré ó pọ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ ká wò ní nǹkan tí Yorùbá sọ pé ojú mẹ́rin ló ń bímọ igba ojú ló ń tọ́. Ó níbi tó pín sí. And my dad has a principle. One of the principles tó fi raise wa up is throughout your journey in life, you will meet different fathers and different mothers. You will meet different fathers at different stages, and each person is going to contribute something I may never contribute to you. It's an ideology he instilled in me. So when I meet people like that, I try to respect them like a father so that I can get from them maybe something different from what my dad, or maybe the things he doesn't have, I can get from them. But when it comes to the responsibility of a father, ideally, the first responsibility, the foundation, is provision. The first thing is provision. Then other ones now have to do with the support. I call it I just generalize it as support. Now this support has to do with a lot. Not financial now. Financial has to do with the provisions. Now, support in the sense that mental support, maybe career advice, relationship, that friendship, personal advice, heart-to-heart talks, things you know you may not be able to discuss with your friends because they are not well experienced in that area. So these are the places where fathers come in for that advice through life, based on examples, what will I say, based on their own lifestyles or their experience in life. Àwọn kan táwọn ti rí láti fi reshape life for more. I get late for meetings now due to some one of two reasons. I will tell you that my dad raised us never to be late for a meeting. He raised us never to be late for a meeting.
Punctuality is a soul of business.
And I would tell you that my dad learned it from the first person he got employed with. He said he got a job then at Unilag. Then CESAC was the name they called it, as a driver. And he was driving a professor. He said, so naturally their time was set to 15 minutes before everybody, 15 minutes ahead everybody time. He said the moment he got the job, the man said, bring me your wristwatch, and then he set it for him and gave it to him. He said, go and set every wristwatch in your house to this time. So whenever they are having any meeting,
15 minutes earlier.
They are there 15 minutes. Latest is 15 minutes earlier. Now, those are the things a father would teach you. Things they learn through the journey. So, I want Conti Babatuma provide me support. Daddy, notice skinny bye. And that thing is not limited to the father alone, quite all right. Although provision is the foundation, but I want other things that would come throughout the journey of the child's life. The father needs to be there.
To be there.
Deacon,
let me come to you. I mean, already, I took that reverse so that we can, because Mokwengbata share thought on whether this father should be called a father or not be called a father. Mokwengbata disagree, which is okay if that is your view. However, I took that reverse so we can again now recognize the role of a father. And then we can now answer that question. If maybe Olamide said, oh, this man should not be called a father because he wasn't there, and the role of a father is provision and emotional and mental support, then maybe that justifies your opinion on why such a man who is not available, because the role you think a father should play, you never played.
Yeah.
And so you should not be called one. But let me get your thought in that.
No, what you don't have, you can give. What you don't have, you can give. And one thing I said, the main role I always tell when I opportunity to counsel is, number one, create an identity for that child. But if you don't know what identity is, and you don't have identity, you can't create one.
What do you mean by identity?
Now,
that's quite ambiguous.
now, what I mean about identity is, number one, okay, now when they see your child, who do you want people to see? Omo Ayo ló ń bọ̀ yẹn. What are the things you want people to see to identify that Omo Ayo ló ń bọ̀ yẹn? So if you are not truthful, you can't raise a truthful child. If you don't have integrity, you can't raise a child with integrity. If you are not loving, you can't raise a loving child. If you are not tolerant, you can't raise a child with high tolerance. So if you don't have the values that make a child, that create an identity for a child, definitely you can't raise a child of such. So for intending fathers, let's ask ourselves, Tombari Omowa, Kilomasokwe, Banoshema describe Omowa. And Omo Daniel Umboye. Glory, ṣé wọ́n rí òpùrọ́, ṣé wọ́n rí olè, ṣé wọ́n rí jàgídíjàgan, àbí kí ni wọ́n rí? Because that is what our fathers gave to us that time. Ọmọ ẹni báyìí lélẹ̀. Because ọmọ rẹ̀ pé tó bá ti rí ẹni báyìí, ìwà báyìí. Then even if you don't have certificate, even the name, the identity lásán, no mo mọ̀ pọ́ mọ ẹni báyìí, ó lè ṣe nǹkan báyìí, ó lè ṣe nǹkan báyìí. Because ọmọ rẹ̀ pé you can't pass through that lineage and not carry probably the DNA of that person. So as a father, your first role, as I providing, as I said, create an identity. tó bá wá ní fúnra rẹ̀ ìwọ náà kọ́kọ́ lọ kọ́ before you can create it.
Before we started the show, let me take you up here. And I just remember now. Before we started the show, a sọ̀rọ̀ kankan ní production studio nípa the name is one of the greatest things that a father can give a child. I wanted to explain a little further. Orúkọ rere
ó sàn
ó sàn jù lọ ṣùgbọ́n ṣé orúkọ wà lára nǹkan tí bàbá lè fún ọmọ.
Orúkọ tá à ń sọ is about identity, not orúkọ as Ayo.
Okay.
Okay, tó wá ní okay.
Ó ti yàtọ̀ sí nǹkan tá à ń sọ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Ó ti yàtọ̀.
No, the main thing I'm trying to say that time is that identity.
The identity.
Okay.
Is identity. Tó bá rí ọmọ ẹ̀, let your name be that identity. Jẹ́ nǹkan tó mọ̀ ẹ̀ mọ́. Kọ́ wá rí advance.
Ọmọ yìí ó dẹ̀ rán mi létí Olamide o.
Oh
yes, that should be my dad. And then you begin to expect, then that even if the name do not align.
At least kọ́ rí identity yẹn pé tó bá rí ọmọ ọba ọ̀nà máa rí dànsákì ọba identity ni orúkọ rere ó sàn dúró ó jẹ́ pé orúkọ tó ń jẹ́ yẹn gangan ni but the identity pé ilé yìí ọmọ ẹni báyìí ọmọ ẹni báyìí ni nísìnyí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa la wà níbi iṣẹ́ àwọn ọmọ wa dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé salary wọ̀ ju wá bí 100,000 lọ wọ́n dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé nǹkan tá à ń ṣe ó ju nǹkan 5 million 10 million lọ dẹ́mẹ́lẹ́ wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé dádì àmọ́
Daddy lè inside us náà.
àmọ́ that thing sẹ́yìn náà so kò wá fẹ́ máa fẹ́ sọ fún ọmọ wípé okay o máa pàrọ̀ okay something happened to me one day I was tired and somebody came to look for me and not to my son tell the person I'm sleeping. I was tired, I was sleeping. Tell them I'm sleeping. Then when I'm awake,
I'll check them. I'll
will
call
get back
to
to them. And my son went straight to the man at the door. My daddy said,
I should tell you that I am sleeping.
That he is sleeping. That when he's awake, he will get back to you. On my head, I was like,
What you said is
that's the truth.
That's what you said.
That's the truth. So,
and you know the children, they are very smart. The truth being that at the time when you gave the instruction, yes, you wanted to sleep. At the time there was a knock at the door, the boy may have checked. Yes, you are in bed, but you may not be sleeping.
You're not sleeping.
So rather than lie, my dad said I should tell you that when you come, or if anybody asks, that he's sleeping. But if he checked and you probably, are asleep. Oh, my dad is sleeping. That's in real time.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to say. He said I should tell, but he's not sleeping.
He's not sleeping. But
and I accept that. I didn't scold him or anything. We both laugh over it.
And that's the truth.
But that's the truth. What I have done there is that I must make sure that let my yes be yes and my no be no. Can we train our child that way? That is lacking in our society today. A child that can tell you no is no. I'm not doing. Yes. When we were a toddler, they taught us wherever you go, do not say. I didn't understand that song until when I get to university. I thought just a martial song. One day I just sat down and I reflect on it. Do not say yes
when you need to say no.
When you need to say no.
When
it's a big training we don't give to our children. We don't. Because we have raised so many children that so like just accept anything that comes their way. Hey, be gentle, be kind, anything. That's the wrong identity. There's nothing bad for me trying to say no, sir. Rude.
But society will not show fair man no. Especially as a young person, if you find yourself around older people, that can be a challenge. Yes, you are being truthful and you are saying no, and your no seem disrespectful. Your no seem like you want to rebel.
Giovanni, no, Olako.
Something happened to me recently in an agribusiness space. That was on, I think on Thursday or Friday. Now, these were elderly men. We were supposed to run a partnership. And now, the youngest of these people is practically like, let's say, 25, 30 years older than I am. The youngest. I'm telling you. And so when we got to a level and they were like, we are going to be bringing in the biggest investment. So when I placed everything on the table, at the end of the day, I'm going to be bringing in the biggest investment. So I was like, Baba Rao, hey, biggest investment, wow. Let's break it down. Let's monetize everything you're bringing. So we monetized everything. And by the end of the day, I was bringing 3 times what all of them were bringing on board. Yeah. So the man was not like, what more? You do it, go show. I was like, so do me go. Got them not till and my dad raised us with also a mindset that your consequences as a result of your action, don't be scared of it. So be very thoughtful when you are making decisions. Said your consequences are yours to bear. Even if somebody is going to bear it with you, you are going to be the pivotal sufferer of the consequences. So, and whatever blessing is going to come, you will also be the first person. So whenever you are making your decision, be very careful. So I had to first sit down, looked at it and said, Baba, like this, if you can put these things this way, we are going to work out. And then by the time I put everything down, the man was like, okay. Then they now came down. And I'm being very careful when I'm with elderly people. Yes. If you try to take a stand, so I'm always being careful. So I have to be very careful. And then we came to that conclusion. So sometimes it's not just about...
But you know that that's very convenient for you because you're probably a millennial. If this were to be a Gen Z.
Yeah, Gen Z. to run it. Okay, there is a little boy on the farm. I won't call him a little boy, but he's a Gen Z. And now, because I brought him to that place, so when he hears things that's going to affect me, he calls me straight. I'm like, hello, Egbon. No, this will calm down. So I would always tell him, you must not say anything
until I show.
So I always use that to break him down. Left to him is a very aggressive person who is ready to act.
I know one day at the table of Ben, I'm having a conversation here. Gen Z,
no, Gen Z, no, they are worlds apart. Let's be sincere with ourselves. They are worlds apart.
Interesting stuff. Because of our time, let's take our final words. In a nutshell, Dikindan, let's talk to fathers. Whether we like it or not, in Kota Korora, Soloretoy, as much as it seems like dot of it, Larry, in our society today, our colleague Bob story and if you do, and we've said it here over and over, that I'm using for the right word now, the conversation of fathers not being or in a very bad state in their old age, or that reality is getting brighter. You see fathers being stranded. Someone gave me a data recently and referred to the elderly people's home, and of course we're having the conversation of it not being the Nigerian culture, but it's okay if you are not going to be available and you don't want your parents stranded or being lonely, or be it's a place where you can take them to. However, the person said there are more men there than women.
Wow.
I don't know how true. I don't have the figure, and the person listed a few homes.
I can give you reasons.
The person mentioned a few homes, drew their conclusion off it. It's up to me to agree or not. So let's talk to fathers and see. That's the truth. But she highlights responsibility. There might be somewhere you think, I scored 30% here. Yeah. There might be somewhere you say, well, 100%, but did you score 100% in the other one? So let's take this in like a minute or two.
Yeah. Dear fathers, be an involved and intentional father. Be always involved, knowing well that Tomadi Ojo Gboe or Moto Bati call Wamawo Girisuni, because they will leave you. Then no matter what the mothers do, don't neglect your children. Irrespective of whatsoever you can accuse their mother that she has done or she's doing, don't transfer the aggression to the children. But
that's another topic entirely. How do you partition? How do you separate the conflicts between your spouse without it affecting
the children?
Your spouse is your spouse. your children.
I mean,
are
it's
your
good on
son.
lip service, but reality. Let me get your thoughts.
Okay, I'll say to us, all of us that are fathers, just like Deacon Dana said, it's the same thing I'll say. Be a part of their lives. Be a part. Be a part. That's what I'll say. Like I said, I will say my dad raised us with this philosophy. My dad raised us with this ideology. Mom is always there too. But most of
I was going to ask you.
I know mom taught us some things.
Yeah.
Okay, in a house of almost all boys, only one girl. As a man, cook, household chores, all those things, we do it with ease. She understand, of course. But sometimes, when you want to have some heart-to-heart talk, especially in a house where we were all men, we had this time with our dad.
And on the flip side, people say boys are closer to their mom. Is that the case for you?
The first one is actually closer to mama.
Okay.
You understand? Then others, my dad calls us almost every night. When he comes back tired, they still try to have a conversation.
That's very
with all of us.
intentional. Beautiful.
He has the conversation, talk to everybody, if now he's another person, he wants to make a decision, he'll call everybody.
And it's very hard for you to even let him be by himself.
Let him be by himself.
Impossible.
No possible, bro. So fathers will need to be there. We just need that. They need that support. Apart from the financials we are providing, that provision, they need that support.
That support
we
to be
need
there.
to be there.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And that's all we can take today on the program, The Table of Men. Next week, we'll be back again with another conversation. All the videos are there on Facebook. Alewo, Loju Facebook, Ati, YouTube. It will be there. So we are done in the studio, but the conversation will still be there for you to watch and learn something from. And of course, you can also disagree, and we can continue the conversation from there. Thank you for listening this week. God bless.
ẹ má gbé kúrò ẹ má yí kúrò ẹ má gbé kúrò ẹ má yí kúrò 89.3 là wá ń gbọ́ ẹ má gbé kúrò níbẹ̀ o ẹ má yí kúrò ní West Radio 89.3 là wá ń gbọ́ 89.3 là wá ń gbọ́. àní kẹ́ ẹ má gbé kúrò ẹ má yí kúrò ẹ má gbé kúrò kẹ́ ẹ má yí kúrò 89.3 là wá ń gbọ́ ẹ má gbé kúrò ní West Radio ẹ má yí kúrò 89.3 là wá ń gbọ́ Olúyọ̀lé là wá 89.3 là wá ń gbọ́.
West Radio 89.3 FM kànga gbọ́nmágbẹ́.
On Wells Radio 89.3 FM.
Hello, good evening. Here is the national news on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio. We're reaching you live from Wells Broadcasting House along Alafin Avenue, Oluyale Estate, Ibadan. I am Ayo Emmanuel-Ojo. First, the headlines. Tinubu Shatima joined Muslim faithful for Eid prayer in Abuja. Sarah rejects bill seeking to make voting mandatory. Nigeria spends 21 trillion naira on food and other imports in 4 years. Resident doctors warn of declining numbers, call for better conditions. And in your news update, Eid al-Fitr Alafin Owade calls for leadership and compassion and charity. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu and the Vice President Kashim Shettima joined thousands of worshippers at the National Eid Ground in Abuja on Sunday to mark Eid al-Fitr. Also in attendance were the Deputy Senate President Barrel Jibrin, the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, and several ministers as Muslims across Nigeria celebrated the end of Ramadan. Eid al-Fitr is a time of thanksgiving, charity, and unity, beginning with special prayers in mosque and open spaces. families come together to share meals, exchange gifts, and spread goodwill. A major highlight of the celebration is Zakat al-Fitr, a mandatory act of charity to support the less privileged. While customs vary across cultures, the central message of Eid is gratitude, compassion, and togetherness, which remains the same worldwide. As Muslims across Nigeria mark Eid al-Fitr, several state governors and lawmakers have sent goodwill messages urging citizens to embrace unity, tolerance, and national progress. The Ogun State Governor, Dakbo Abiodun, commended Muslims for their prayers and charitable acts, expressing hope that their sacrifices would bring positive change to the country. The former Ekiti State Governor, Kayode Fayemi, also emphasized the need for Nigerians to reject decisive narratives and embrace their shared humanity. Other leaders, including senators and governors from Yobe, Kebbi, Zamfara, and Gombe State, stressed the importance of peace, cooperation, and moral integrity. Governor Mai Malanbuni of Yobe State assured citizens of continued people-oriented policy, while Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, speaking from Saudi Arabia, urged the Nigerians to prioritize forgiveness and community development. The leaders collectively called for prayers, resilience, and collaboration to overcome the country's challenges. The Social, Economic Rights and Accountability Project